Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into an absolutely crucial role in our modern digital world. We are unpacking the exact blueprint of what it means to be a cloud security engineer. In this explainer, we're not just throwing around a fancy job title. We're going to break down the specific technical pillars and the exact learning mindset you need to actually jump into this role and crush it. But hey, before we get into the details of that framework, I want you to really ask yourself, what does it actually take to secure the cloud? I mean, it's this massive, basically invisible infrastructure, right? Securing it isn't just about plugging in a firewall and calling it a day. It takes highly specific, super active responsibilities. You need a dynamic skill set that's literally always evolving. So what are the actual everyday actions that define a pro working on the front lines of cloud security? Let's figure it out. The core text for our explainer today is literally just 24 words long, but honestly, it acts as a complete, highly concentrated roadmap to the whole profession. It says, become a cloud security engineer, learn to detect misconfigurations, master compliance frameworks, and remediate threats using AI hands-on from day one. So let's go ahead and extract the exact DNA of this job right out of that one single statement. Okay, so that quick text actually breaks down perfectly into three distinct action-packed technical pillars. Number 1, detect misconfigurations. Number 2, master compliance. And number 3, remediate with AI. It's kind of the perfect sequence when you think about it. You find the flaws, you know the rules, and then you fix the active threats. Let's explore how this all builds together, starting with that very first pillar. Pillar 1, proactive defense and detection. Let's zoom in on this phrase right here. Learn to detect misconfigurations. The absolutely crucial part of that sentence is the verb, detect. A cloud security engineer is basically an investigator, first and foremost. The cloud is just so vast and complex, and honestly, the vast majority of vulnerabilities, they don't come from some sophisticated hacker busting through a digital wall. They mostly come from someone just accidentally leaving a digital window open. That is what we call a misconfiguration. And your first real essential skill is learning exactly how to scan, identify, and detect those quiet little vulnerabilities before anybody else does. Moving on to pillar 2, the rules of the game. So our blueprint tells us we have to master compliance frameworks. Notice the really strong language they use here. It doesn't say become familiar with or, read a bit about compliance frameworks. No, it says master them. Securing the cloud means you are operating within some seriously strict legal and industry guidelines to protect user data and privacy. If you don't master these frameworks, well, your security architecture, no matter how technically brilliant it might seem, is fundamentally broken. To put it super simply, compliance frameworks are the structural rules of the whole system. They're basically the guardrails that dictate exactly how data is stored, who gets to access it, and how it's encrypted. Mastery here, it's totally non-negotiable. It is the load-bearing pillar that literally supports every single other piece of your entire security architecture. And that brings us to pillar 3, the future of response. Remediate threats using AI. Now, this is where the job pivots from just preventative measures to full-on active defense. When a threat actually slips past your detection, you gotta act fast. But notice how the source specifically pairs the idea of remediation with artificial intelligence. You aren't just sitting there manually typing out code to patch a leak while the ship is actively sinking. Instead, you're deploying AI to analyze the threat and fire off countermeasures in literal milliseconds. We're talking about speeds that a human being simply cannot match. So remediation is basically the act of neutralizing threats, but driven in this modern context entirely by AI. It's essentially the ultimate fix. A modern cloud security engineer doesn't just stop an attack in its tracks. They leverage AI to automate and completely supercharge that neutralization process. Honestly, it represents a massive, game-changing leap forward in the skill set you need to succeed. Now let's look at the methodology, learning by doing. Hands-on from day one. Man, this makes such an incredibly strong statement about how you actually learn this stuff. You absolutely cannot learn this role just by sitting back and reading a textbook. It requires immediate, active engagement. You literally have to get right into the sandbox, configuring systems, and deploying those AI defenses with your own 2 hands, right from the very beginning. Which leads us straight to our final thought for today. We've seen the whole blueprint now. We know it takes a true mastery of detection, incredibly strict compliance, and AI-driven remediation, all built on a solid foundation of immediate hands-on practice. So the big question I'm leaving you with today is this. Are you ready to tackle AI-driven security threats hands-on?
The roadmap is laid out right there in front of you. It's time to roll up your sleeves and get to work. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep on learning.